when I've been playing on my own, and there's a lot of very normal and quite helpful people on the server. As you can see, I'm walking everywhere because running would just spell death as quickly as you started, really. You want to keep your hunger as high as possible for as long as possible. The spawn region is completely destroyed, outwards of about 2,000-3,000 blocks in every direction. I'm collecting dirt here just as a precautionary measure. First of all, I feel like I needed some blocks just in case I needed to build my way out of a hole or something, and also in case I found a rare sapling or a seed or just something I could use the dirt for, because every living thing that could help you to survive has been stripped away, blown to pieces by TNT, lava casted, and there is just a continuous stream of people doing absolutely everything they can to make your experience on this server as difficult as it possibly can be. Huge lava casts of cobblestone, massive lava walls and obsidian walls that a new player with no gear would struggle endlessly to get away from. I think that brings our tally to about 4 deaths now, 3 deaths. And this time we spawn on the bedrock floor. Now I promise you this entire video first sign of real life on this server, so I thought I'd take the plunge 200 odd blocks down into the ocean, and I would continue my journey on the surface, on the ground, where we can actually have reasonable access to dirt. You can see there we're about 2,000 blocks out at this point. We found a highway which, I don't know which direction it's going in, but it was quite a narrow one, an obsidian highway that was really a blessing at this point. Huge thunderstorms were crashing around me, and I just thought with no food in sight we're going to be walking for a long time, and I didn't want to really be jumping over and under things for the next 1,000 blocks, wasting all of my hunger. So it was great to find this highway. Now, you may not know much about this server, and if you don't, I highly recommend just putting the phrase 2b2t into the YouTube search, because there are so many awesome historical looks at this Minecraft server. As I said, it is the oldest anarchy server in Minecraft, which dates it back to 2010, I think, maybe even 2009. I don't really know much about it. In terms of the accurate history, I just recommend that you go take a look at some of those history videos that have been made by creators like FitMC and SalC1. There are plenty others as well, but they make it incredibly interesting, and to be honest, it gives a real sense of wonder and genuinely just history to this server. So I picked up a bit more dirt just in case, and we stumbled across an ender chest, which I decided to bank some of that dirt just in case I died and I needed access to some, well, just a few blocks. I could have probably mined a fair few more, but I was scared that I would be using up all of my hunger. We've only, at this point, lost about half a bar of hunger, but you know, that could be the difference between life and death. I decided not to go back into the nether, purely because I was scared that all of my progress would be lost, just through impatience really. And what was great was, as you can see, people who have obviously been trying to escape spawn themselves have placed, or maybe some helpful strangers have placed slabs along the journey, which mean that you don't have to jump and use your hunger. But finally, after easily 3 hours of playing, I would say, we found a sapling, one solitary sapling, a desolate farm we eventually stumbled across as well, and some flowers, but that sapling is the most important by seen one ASMR video on this server, and it was not the greatest, so I hope that this can spell a new era of relaxation in the 2b2t anarchy timeline. I somehow doubted it. I lost my boat at this point, but we'd already continued quite far and we found a nice path that we could just keep walking and walking. I think we're about 5,000 blocks out at this point, and the place that we eventually find a temporary home at least is around 6 to 7,000, maybe not quite that far, but we continued making our way down the path. I apologise for the vaguely rude obsidian monuments that are around. You just have to ignore them. And we found somebody's house as well that we gladly took a few bits and bobs from. I thought about staying there for a while, but I just considered it and decided to move on. And eventually we found this haven, this heaven oasis in the desert. And this is where we decided to finally settle down. Someone had unfortunately died of hunger in the meantime, and what a sad occurrence that was, because clearly they just didn't have the life in them to survive the growth of these melons. There were 8, I believe, melon plants planted by the sea here. And this really would save us. A bunch of signs saying a free rest stop, free melons. People have fixed it, people have used it all. People have said it's a nice farm, and asking people if they came from the melon road, whatever that is. So I decided to put my gratitude down on a sign. Thank you so much, kind people. And I put my name, TheASMRMedic. And I thought, well, it's going to take a while for these melons to grow for sure. So why not just try to spruce the place up a bit? It'll 100% get destroyed, but if I just put a few little touches here and there, maybe people won't even be bothered about griefing it. So I just touched it up a little bit, you know. I made it look a little bit less desolate, as I've said before. A bunch of trees have been planted here, and I have 18 more saplings, so I thought this was the best place so far that I've come across to just settle down for a second, just relax. I've done nothing but travelling and running, well, walking for the last 7,000 blocks, so I thought this is just somewhere I can chill out. I decided to make a few rooms, or tidy up a couple of the rooms that had already been dug out. I could make some tools here, I could get those melons to grow and just take the seeds for myself eventually, leaving the melons behind, of course, the actual melon plants for future players. But I would get what I needed. I'd have my saplings, I'd have my seeds, and I'd have a bunch of building materials. And I decided to call this a safe haven, as that's what it was for me, a safe haven for the ASMR Medic. Thank you, and I'm pretty sure I put the date down as well, which was the 19th of April of this year, obviously. And I like to think that sometime in the future, if I keep playing on the server, or even if I stop playing and I eventually come back just for nostalgia, I could come find this place again and remember that this is really where it started. In the morning our first melon had grown, so I chopped that up and we got 3 little slices of melon out of it. Obviously good to eat, but rest for it. I could have made some charcoal with some wood, and that would have sufficed, but nothing is quite as good as coal, in my opinion, in that respect. So we lit the place up a bit. I didn't want us getting blown up by a creeper or something like that. I know I'm probably not being hugely survival at this point, but we are where we are. And this is where things took a turn for the worst. And you're going to think I'm a complete idiot. We killed the creeper, don't worry, but there's a skeleton in the background. And I thought, you know what, those bones that he'll drop are going to be great for the melon farm. I'll just let you watch. That's right. I accidentally pressed Q with my stone sword, dropped the sword to the skeleton, tried to pick it up, and the skeleton killed me with it. That is, and I am absolutely not exaggerating, the stupidest way I have ever died in Minecraft. Ever. I've probably died in stupider ways, generally stupider ways, like less ones that were my fault or something, but that was the stupidest thing I could have done, considering the circumstances. And so, with a minute left on this video, I just want to leave you with the fact that this is not the end. I want to let you know that I continued playing. If anything, it invigorated me to play more, knowing that the dangers were still there, even if players weren't going to kill me. I found some wool, so we had a bed, and we're actually starting to prosper, and I am really looking forward to showing you the second video, the second episode in this series, because it is a lot of fun. So